And video's on. Hi everyone, we have a different view now. So hope you will like this one better. Bought a new tripod. And these are our guests, and we'll announce them shortly. We're getting ready. There you go.
I hate this part. All right, happy Thursday, everybody. You are listening to KNBC 95.1 FM, Carson City. And for our listening public out in Lyon County and beyond, knbc.org. I am here with CJ Giltner, and we are Carson Rural Communities.
Well, hello, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great, great. So you see we have a different setup today. So you're probably going to see the back of our heads, but you get to see our guests for a change instead of seeing a side profile. And so today I wanted to introduce you to Mike and Bekah, who is part of the Carson M.O.S.T team. So let's start with Mike. Go ahead and tell us what the M.O.S.T team is, please.
So the M.O.S.T team, we are a mobile outreach safety team. That's the acronym. We're a crisis, pretty much stabilization unit. So anytime there's like a suicide threat in the community, we'll be dispatched to that, or any type of crisis in the community, we're going to self-dispatch to that, to those to de-escalate the crisis, basically, is what we're designed to do. And then also a jail diversion unit. So if somebody is in crisis and it's a low-level crime, we can show up on scene and maybe negate the criminal charges on that and maybe take them into our custody, get them into a hospital to alleviate that, get them where they need to be, right? Because they're in crisis. And so I'll let Bekah explain a little bit more about that.
Okay.
And my name is Bekah Bach. I'm a licensed clinical social worker from Division of Public and Behavioral Health, and I've been there for 28 years. As a therapist, and then I joined the mobile outreach safety team 11 years ago, and it's really about partnership. So again, I'm a state employee. We've partnered with the sheriff's office to develop the team to, I think, mitigate threat in the community. We had the IHOP shooting in 2009, I think.
Yes, I remember.
And so I think after that happened, the sheriff was like, we need to be out there and aware of situations, maybe dangerous situations. But certainly that's a rare thing that happens with people who are mentally ill, because
Right.
people who have mental illness are more likely to be exploited. So we're out just to protect folks in crisis and to make sure they're getting lower level services. So we're trying to get them, increase their quality of life and keep them out of the hospitals, out of our psychiatric ER, which is Mallory, out of behavioral health services, which is our inpatient psychiatric facility. And we partner with everyone in the community. So community counseling centers, a CCBHC, certified behavioral health, mental health unit. So we do our subacute crises to lower level services.
Okay. And that's throughout the whole rural area, right?
Well, each M.O.S.T teams is Washoe County, Sparks, Carson, Douglas. We're all under that same acronym per se, but every unit is run differently and independently, right?
Just like
so it's very important for them for the listeners to understand that if they call us and they're in Lyon County, we don't go to Lyon County. We're only based in Carson City, and we operate differently. Like we call it from birth to death, right? That's our clientele. So we don't negate like, oh, we don't do adolescent, or we don't separate that. So other counties might only do like adults. I think Lyon County does adults only. They were in, I think, getting an adolescent unit out there. I don't know if that's still in the works or not, but so yeah, everyone is ran just a little bit differently. So.
Well, that's good to know. I just thought it was one standard thing and that was it.
Yeah, some are ran through like the public health departments.
Okay.
I think Lyon County's ran a public health department. Our main is out of the sheriff's department.
Right.
And we're proponents with the most programming to be ran out of the sheriff's department. Just because you need the buy-in of the sheriff to be able to attach a code responding unit, because it's costly, right, to take a deputy and put with a clinician and put in a car, and so there are costs on that. And some of your other communities don't have the financials to be able to accommodate that, And right now we got 2 full-time teams. We're telling Phil prior to the interview that we have a third team that's coming. So we want to thank you guys as well, because we are on a campaign in Carson City to get our programming out to the communities, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
we'll
so it's
be able to
perfect.
use our taped video about this too, so that's really good. And I'm so glad I met you guys too, because
It's awesome.
I was at the Senior Service Network, the Senior Celebrations event, and I got there a couple of minutes late from my table, and I can't really crawl underneath the table to get to a chair. So I said, I'm just going to go visit everyone and talk to them about what we do on the radio. And that's bringing communities together and bringing events together and helping people. And that's what we're all about here. So, so what's a typical day?
Is there a typical a typical day? This week we have a theme. It's just a lot of people who are experiencing hallucinations and delusions. A lot of folks are seniors who are alone with dementia, and they don't have family or friends to help them. So we are the conduit. We will always say the buck stops here. So we're aware of somebody who's in crisis and not able to live on their own. They need higher levels of care. We partner with everyone, again, in the community. M.O.S.T is not out of a vacuum. We work with every organization.
Every resource.
Absolutely necessary to have every partner with everybody in the community.
And every team is multidisciplinary.
Yes, for sure. So we're partnering right now with Battleborn and the Senior Network,
Well, Battleborn Health is one entity, and then Troy that runs out a Senior Service Network out of there, right? So we just made that relationship with them almost about a year ago, and they've been very instrumental in a lot of cases that we've been handling recently as well. So again, like Bekah says, M.O.S.T doesn't do it all by ourselves. It's the community that we collaborate with. If we need financials, we got able to get rent paid and housing for people and groceries for people. I mean, we're that conduit that connects them to those services, basically. So
cool.
Yeah.
So how long has M.O.S.T been around? I think we kind of touched about that earlier.
So in Carson City, we've been here since 2014, July 2014. So we're coming on our 11th year.
Very good. Very good.
And we're also, the teams are also a part of our crisis negotiation teams, which makes sense because we negotiate all day long. So we're on the crisis negotiation team, and we're also the facilitators of crisis intervention team training, CIT. We have 2 academies in the Carson Sheriff's Office a year. So we have one in November and then one in April, and that's for law enforcement to understand how maybe what mental illness is, how to recognize it, and try to de-escalate people in crisis and really kind of educate them on the services, so we're not just arresting people. So in Carson City, our academies are pretty much half law enforcement and half community members. So it could be psychiatric nurses, mental health techs, and then like people from health and human services and such.
Sure. That helps the elderly a lot.
Yes,
Does it?
for sure.
Yes. And what happens when there's a situation with a homeless person, not necessarily a senior, just a homeless person?
Yeah, I mean, basically kind of how our systems work is we did take referrals from community and we take referrals from the deputies from patrol. So anytime a deputy is dispatched a call, because obviously we're not 24/7 day, right? So this team here, Bekah and I, are Monday through Thursday from 7 to 4. But the patrol deputies, your swing shift, your graveyard, when they're going to calls for service, if there's a mental health component attachment, which most calls have, those referrals come from deputies and then community members. And then once we get the referrals, that's what we handle. We follow up on the referrals and say, how can we get these subjects connected to services, right? To maybe try to alleviate the calls for service at that location. Because every time there's a crisis, there's a need that's behind it, right? So, and that's where we come into place. What's the need in the home that needs to be satisfied to de-escalate maybe the crisis in the home, maybe disputes or So we get a wide plethora of different types of referrals. It could be like I said, dementia. It could be, maybe a domestic battery, and we need to get them connected to, counseling services or therapeutic services. So those referrals come to us. We navigate those. Community referrals come to us, and we collaborate with Health and Human Services. And so we don't refuse a referral from anybody. If you think you need to contact us. And then if it's not us, we'll get it sent to somebody else, right? So,
And
yeah.
do you feel that this takes a burden off of the jails and
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
just not having the revolving door with the same people?
Yeah. So like Bekah said, with the CIT training that we do twice a year, that really, from a law enforcement perspective, right, through our academies and training, we're taught like, okay, hurry up, next call, hurry up, next call, hurry up, next call, because the cities are busy, the counties are busy, and you have to get there to de-escalate, try and solve the situation. So in the CIT academies, we're teaching law enforcement, hey, we need to slow things down, because if you get on scene and they're in crisis, first, let's recognize the crisis. Is there a mental health component to it? And now by slowing it down, we law enforcement can make a better determination on how are we going to process this scene, right? We're not getting there thinking, oh my God, the person's yelling, screaming. Now I got to put my taser out. I got to throw my gun out. I got to get something on them. So we slow it down to keep that lethality threat down for the clients that we're dealing with, So the deputies are learning to slow things down and process things better, right? So,
and they also call for us. So when we arrive on scene, they're like, thank goodness, because they can go then and take another call. So we'll handle the call.
I see. Okay.
So Bekah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We just take a lot more. We'll spend the time, whatever it needs, hour and a half a day, whatever it takes to help that person in crisis, where other deputies, they have stacked calls. So there's other things going on.
So if you look at
yes,
if you look at inception with the M.O.S.T team, when Bekah first came to the sheriff's office, it was, oh, Bekah's here, she's in briefing. Oh, you're going to go with this deputy today, or this deputy today, or that deputy today, right? So they weren't necessarily just responding to behavioral health calls. If whoever Bekah was assigned to had a petty larceny at Walmart, they had to go to petty larceny. So we have a behavioral health social worker attached to a patrol deputy handling patrol calls. So, and again, the sheriff has a really good visionary vision about, hey, this is what the city needs. So now we're full-time units where, like Bekah was discussing, we can go on scene and we're not dictated by anybody. We're not having somebody call us, hey, you guys need to clear, you need to come to this call, we need you over here. We get the latitude to be able to stay on scene and solve the crisis,
after
right?
11 years, man, it's like this isn't the first trip to the rodeo in any case.
Yeah, exactly. So the addition to be able to have the full-time units is awesome. It's awesome.
So then when a situation happens and you arrive and both of you are taking whatever steps you need to take, do you follow it all the way through to the point where the individual is now feeling a lot better and can now go into the regular world and continue to function? You know where I'm going with that? Where you follow it from beginning to end?
yes, certainly.
And then do you follow up with them later just to check in and say, hey, how are you? Just call and say hi. What's going on?
So our job definitely is to do a warm handoff with our community providers. So if somebody's in crisis, we need to get them into, like there's a girl we're working with who's suicidal and homicidal, and the school needs a risk plan, a safety plan before she returns to school. So we'll get her into therapy and we'll follow until we know she's in good hands, or that person is in good hands. There's people that we have that are moved out of state and they text us. They call us. So we don't ever just close a case. They might want to just text, hey, this is what happened, or this is how I'm feeling. So we're always open to, we have many of those clients.
Yeah, I think once they're connected to us, it's not only is it serving Carson City's community and maybe surroundings, but we, like Bekah said, we got a couple clients, one is in Kansas. She's in crisis, she contacts us. So how far reach do these teams have, right? To be able to de-escalate her crisis over the phone, to where maybe law enforcement or social services don't even have to respond from Kansas to go see her, right? So, and we thought about that this morning prior to this. We're like, it's kind of crazy how our broad outreach, and this goes for all teams because it's connectivity, right? Human to human connectivity. If you're able to have connectivity with somebody and they know they can reach out to you for that safety, they'll keep reaching out to you, and it's apparent by, it's apparent by that connectivity, right?
You've made a friend.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
You've actually made a friend
Yeah.
and they trust you. Because most people, when they see a uniform, they want to run the other way.
Sure, absolutely.
Not me, I run right up to them.
I imagine you get that a lot on the first visits.
when you show up and
Yeah, sometimes they're looking, and our community here knows us pretty good now because we've been out for 11 years. But exactly, you will. There are some you're rolling up on, like, oh my god, the cops are here. It's like, oh, hold on. We always like to say, we're helpers. We're helpers. This is nothing. That's why Becca's with me. She's a social worker, right? So, and then we break those barriers down and establish that rapport. So,
Isn't it nice? I'd
Yeah.
like to see more of that happen.
Yes.
have you
So-
ever
Yes.
have either of you ever been injured in the line of duty doing this so far?
No, I have not. No.
That's right.
So I've pretty much been on the department for about 13 years, and I like to use verbal judo.
Wow.
So I've been in maybe 2 use of forces my whole career of my own making. I've been in several because of other deputies per se, right? But of my own making, we're like, oh, I can't get compliance. I can't get rapport with this person, and it goes south, and then I have to do whatever I need to do. So I've been very fortunate through my career not to have been injured. Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely.
What about you,
So-
Becca?
Oh, just a few flights of stairs with ice and just stuff.
Oh wow.
My shoulders are
Slippery
kind of,
moments.
Yeah.
just like being out in the elements. And
Yeah.
our office is our SUV. So it's just that repetitive motion of going in. My masseuse is like, oh my God, what do you do for our
Right.
Yeah.
careers? Like getting in and out of a car all day long. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And another good thing to maybe emphasize is when we talk about the connectivity aspect of being able to establish rapport and connectivity to the client is that I think I lost my train of thought. You go with something and I'll come back to it because
So
my brain just went south on me. I'm like, whoa.
I did want to mention our part of our programming in the Carson City Sheriff's Office is our wellness programming for our deputies and our peer support programming.
Very important.
It is because if we don't have healthy deputies, we can't really handle crisis situations. So it's just one of the sheriff's top priorities is to keep our deputies healthy and just educate them on how to keep healthy because we do have a very stressful job. And you can see across the nation just the fallout of high suicide rates with law enforcement and first responders in general. So that's something in the last couple of years has been pretty new. And we do a lot of trainings on that as well to decide how we can best help our deputies stay
So-
sound.
My brain went south. She said a word. I picked up on the word and my brain's back, right? She said suicide. So what I was going with the connectivity aspect of since the inception of our teams being out in the Carson City community, obviously when we get the referrals and we kind of navigate each client that we deal with is we have the rates of when people know about the M.O.S.T program, we have maybe, I think it's 1 suicide in 11 years. So every time there's a suicide, we check for history. Has M.O.S.T ever had contact with that person that committed suicide? And we're batting 99%, so
Wow.
basically meaning that once we
That's
connect
really
with
big
somebody,
difference
our intervention with them is working, if that makes sense,
there.
right?
Yeah.
So we have one person that perished after being connected to M.O.S.T. So very important to get our program out to the general public.
It
and
was
stuff, so.
during COVID. And so I think
Yeah.
that person had to go online for his therapy. And that was really difficult on him. So that's what happened there, COVID.
Being online for things such as that isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
Just like Zoom isn't for everyone. So
And we'll do.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just, it just made me think about it when you mentioned the mental health for the deputies. Makes me think about veterans. I would imagine you guys probably have a lot of clientele that are veterans.
We do. We're connected with a lot of different resource allocation at Reno, and then we have one in Carson City, Nation's Finest, that we network with quite a bit as well.
have you gone
So-
to the Veterans Healing Camp yet?
We have not.
No.
No.
You got to go visit them. That's a great place.
And is that in
for
Lyon
veterans.
County?
It's in Lyon County,
Okay.
Silver
Okay.
Springs. If
Okay.
you go around the roundabout, I could say
Yes.
the Four Corners, but you go right around the
The second
roundabout
roundabout.
towards Fowler.
This the second
It's
one.
right on your right hand side.
Okay. Awesome.
It is a really cool place. I actually adopted it, so it's going to be some of
Sweet.
my nonprofit stuff that I
Awesome.
do. So, okay, so if someone wanted to be a part of the M.O.S.T team, what do they have to do?
Well, I don't know how I would describe that. Obviously, are you talking about it from a clinical perspective or a
On
deputy's
both sides of the
perspective?
coin, both the
On both
sheriff
sides of the
deputy
coin,
side as well. How do they get
You're going to
involved?
have to, like most teams are what they classify as a special assignment, like similar to detectives or SED or SRO, school resource officers. So our most teams is a specialized unit. So you have to, when the memos come out, if there's an opening, the deputies have to put in for that opening, and then they'll be interviewed for those positions if it's open, right? But you have to have patience. You have to have extreme patience, right?
Okay.
Level-headed. You have to be extremely level-headed. A good decision maker, right? And then be able to work with your partner from a different aspect. Because when years ago, if you told a cop, "Hey, I put a social worker in your car," that's not going to happen, right? Because we don't want people knowing anything about us, right? So again, not only does this help break those barriers down in law enforcement, and we do a lot of presentations, and we go to a lot of training and presentations as well. But not to get off topic, but a lot of communities are kind of going to the co-responding model with a therapist and with law enforcement, because it does twofold. It helps keep the deputies dialed in. Like, I get free counseling, right? Well, I can't complain about that, So, but yeah, I would say rapport building skills, being able to have extreme patience, and then empathy, with people's understanding. And yeah, that's how I would describe it.
And for the clinical side, I would say, well, you'd have to get your LCSW, just any kind of therapy licensure, but it takes a certain person, I think, that would want to be on a first law enforcement team. Because I was the center director of Carson Rural Clinics and thought this would be a great idea. And I asked the 8 therapists that worked at the center, "Hey, you want to be on this team?" And none of them bit. So I rolled out as a pilot project.
So it kind of like takes a different species of a deputy and a social worker to work together to bring everything together for this, whatever the situation is going to be, right?
Right, absolutely.
So you start out getting your college degree to become a social worker, and
we go through the academies for our credentials.
Yeah, so very good, very good. So what do you want the general public to know?
I would say, if there's ever a situation, like, we don't define the crisis. A crisis is a crisis is a crisis, right? So we don't judge anything. We're here to help. Reach out, and then if whatever the need is, I mean, like, we usually tell people, like, with our elderly population, sometimes our units do simple things as, "Hey, this client needs diapers. Let's figure out where we're going to get them."
And how would a member of the public reach out?
They're going to reach out to us through the Carson City Sheriff's Office website, or they can contact this team at 775-350-5118. Once again, 775-350-5118. And that's a direct cell phone that we carry on us. And again, we don't define it, we don't stigmatize it, we don't judge it. So, and just reach out, right? Reach out.
There's another team. The second team is 775-230-6002. So that's 775-230-6002. And we work, again, Monday through Thursday, and the other team works Tuesday through Friday.
Okay.
And so there's no stupid call. And if you just have questions, we're a resource allocation team as well. So if anybody has questions about how do I get this, or anything about any kind of community organization, we can educate.
Very good.
And then maybe throw one thing out to the other counties, the sheriffs out there, if they're listening to the podcast or whatever. We like to let people know that we're ran through our sheriff's department, and we believe, again, wholeheartedly, that's where the most programs should run through. The cell phone number that we put out there, again, comes directly to Bekah and I. And we get over 1,000 phone calls a year. So if you think about the impact of dispatch not having to handle those 1,000 calls, because they're coming directly to us, and then we self-dispatch to those calls for service. So the sheriffs out there, just think about that component where, if you need to move monies around or whatever, maybe you don't need an extra dispatcher. Maybe you could put it into a deputy to start a co-responding unit to be able to do that, give them the phone and have them be dual purpose, almost like a self-dispatch unit. That's kind of how we operate. So it really does. Yeah. And you look at the second team, another 1,000 calls. So it's 2,000 calls a year that dispatch doesn't have to answer, potentially, right? So something to kind of throw out there to get the other rural counties to kind of think about it a little bit. So.
Well, I got to say thank you so much for coming. You're stuck here for 6 minutes.
Yes,
and so we're required to read out the PSAs, which are over there, the ones that I have to do that are mandatory. And when I'm finished with these, then obviously it's the Veterans Memorial Weekend, and we like to thank our veterans for their service. And I have two things that I'm going to talk about when we're done with these.
Okay.
And then just so that everyone knows, don't forget, if you want to hear something on the radio, you can text me at 775-400-1151, and we'll get it on the calendar. If you have a nonprofit you want to talk about, just like the services that are offered in our community, let me know so that we can get you on the air. And so let's go ahead and do our PSAs. So downtown Carson City and Carson City Rotary invites one and all to the annual Capital City Brew Fest on May 31st, and that's from 3 to 8 p.m. in the McFadden Plaza, with 30 flavors of beer, wine, spirits to sample and vote on for the People's Choice Award. That's always fun. 4 food trucks, fun and water features, live DJs, photo booth, magicians, and more. Let's see. If you want to get tickets and get the early bird ticket, you can go to capitalcitybrewfest.com. Then the Stewart Father's Day Powwow. I love one of those. The annual Stewart Father's Day Powwow is coming on June 13th through the 15th, and local business can become a community partner and sponsor the event with a full color ad for its products and services in the 2025 souvenir program, which is very nice. I really like that one. With your support, you'll be helping honor the relatives who were once sent to the school and celebrate the modern, contemporary, vibrant culture of the Nevada First Peoples. To reach out, you would contact Serena Rupert Nez at the Stewart Father's Day Powwow Committee, and there's a telephone number, 775-687-7605. And then Carson Valley Days is coming up, and that's going to be from June 12th through the 15th. And so get ready for a prehistoric adventure. There's going to be carnival rides, live music. The theme's going to be Jurassic Valley. And let's see, there's going to be fantastic food, family fun, and that's going to be at Lampe Park in Gardnerville. And don't miss the legendary Carson Valley Days Parade on June the 14th at 9 a.m. And if you want to be a sponsor or a vendor, or you just want to know more information, you can go to, the website is carsonvalley2030.com. And then Carson City Sheriff's Office. You and your golf team can support the Carson City Sheriff's Office K-9 unit at the 2nd annual Carson City Sheriff's Office K-9 unit golf tournament at Silver Oak Golf Club on August the 2nd. Become a sponsor and or sign up and play now at carson.org/K9, or you can call 775-283-3422. Okay, so I got all the mandatory things out. So now I'm going to tell you we've got, 2 minutes to go?
About that.
Okay.
Ish.
So there is going to be a veteran financial empowerment presentation Saturday, May 24th at 11 o'clock via Zoom. Now, I posted the flyer on our Facebook page on Carson Rural Communities. I posted the flyer that has the little QR code, but I also posted the Zoom link for them so that if you want to participate, this is a great thing. It's like an hour long. That's it. And it starts at 11 o'clock via Zoom. And then on Memorial Day, join us in paying tribute to those who served and sacrificed. Heartfelt moment to honor and remember our fallen heroes. There's going to be a barbecue, community and camaraderie, rising flag to full staff, and that's going to be Monday the 26th from 12 to 4, and that is at the Veterans Healing Camp. And the address is 1775 East Highway 50 in Silver Springs. And I'm going to tell you again, you just go through the roundabout or the square, 4 squares, whichever way you want to picture it, but it's a roundabout. Go like you're going to Fallon, and it's kind of like a maroon, rusty maroon colored building. There's a lot of property there. It's right there on the right-hand side. You can't miss it. And so they do need an RSVP by the 24th. And you can text or you can call 775-781-2394. And then the last thing, oh, we're almost done. We can hold this for the next week. So Pony Express 2025 is coming. So that is in June. So we'll talk more about that one because I know we are like 15 seconds away, right?
Yeah, we're pretty close.
10, 5, 4.
Oh, here comes the music.
Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Come
Yes.
back to
Thank
see
you.
us.
Thanks for
Sounds
having
good. Thank
us.
you.
All right.
All right, thank you guys for joining us again. You're listening to KNBC 95.1 Carson City, also knbc.org for our Lyon County listeners. Have a great Thursday. Thank you.